Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A product of your creative thinking and work. He had little respect for the inspirations of other artists. The act of inhaling, the drawing in of air, or other gases, as in breathing. Theology, a special influence of a divinity on the minds of human beings. Arousing to a particular emotion or action. Arousal of the mind to special unusual activity or creativity. A sudden intuition as part of solving a problem. A product of your creative thinking and work. After years of work, his brainchild was a tangible reality. The act of inhaling, the drawing in of air, or other gases, as in breathing. A cherished desire. A manner of articulation involving an audible release of breath. A will to succeed. The act of inhaling, the drawing in of air, or other gases, as in breathing. The act of inhaling, the drawing in of air, or other gases, as in breathing. A medication to be taken by inhaling it. The act of inhaling, the drawing in of air, or other gases, as in breathing. An opening through which fluid is admitted to a tube or container. The process of taking food into the body through the mouth, as by eating. Theology, a special influence of a divinity on the minds of human beings. They believe that the books of Scripture were written under divine guidance. Capable of arousing enthusiasm or excitement. Stirring events such as wars and rescues. Exciting strong but not unpleasant emotions. A stirring speech. Arousing to a particular emotion or action. Agitating a liquid with an implement. Constant stirring prevents it from burning on the bottom of the pan. An artifact that has been created by someone or some process. They export most of their agricultural production. The quantity of something, as a commodity, that is created, usually within a given period of time. Production was up in the second quarter. A display that is exaggerated or unduly complicated. She tends to make a big production out of nothing. A presentation for the stage or screen or radio or television. Have you seen the new production of Hamlet? Economics, manufacturing or mining or growing something, usually in large quantities, for sale. He introduced more efficient methods of production. Law, the act of exhibiting in a court of law. The appellate court demanded the production of all documents. The act or process of producing something. Shakespeare's production of poetry was enormous. The creation of value or wealth by producing goods and services. The set of elements common to two or more sets. An artifact that has been created by someone or some process. They improve their product every year. Commodities offered for sale. That store offers a variety of products. A quantity obtained by multiplication. The product of 2 and 3 is 6. A chemical substance formed as a result of a chemical reaction. A product of lime and nitric acid. A consequence of someone's efforts or of a particular set of circumstances. Skill is the product of hours of practice. A short respite. An indirect suggestion. Not a breath of scandal ever touched her. A slight movement of the air. There wasn't a breath of air in the room. The air that is inhaled and exhaled in respiration. His sour breath offended her. The process of taking in and expelling air during breathing. He took a deep breath and dived into the pool. Something immaterial, as a circumstance or influence, that contributes to producing a result. The act of arousing. Capable of arousing enthusiasm or excitement. Arousing sermon. Rousing to activity or heightened action as by spurring or goading. Tossed a rousing political comment into the conversation. The act of arousing. The purpose of art is the arousal of emotions. Mutual sexual fondling prior to sexual intercourse. A state of heightened physiological activity. Awakening from sleep. A personal belief or judgment that is not founded on proof or certainty. What are your thoughts on Haiti? The content of cognition, the main thing you are thinking about. The thought never entered my mind. The process of using your mind to consider something carefully. She paused for thought. The organized beliefs of a period or group or individual. 19th century thought. Music, melodic subject of a musical composition. The accompanist picked up the idea and elaborated it. An approximate calculation of quantity or degree or worth. A rough idea how long it would take. The content of cognition, the main thing you are thinking about. It was not a good idea. Your intention, what you intend to do. The idea of the game is to capture all the pieces. A personal view. He has an idea that we don't like him. An impression that something might be the case. He had an intuition that something had gone wrong. Instinctive knowing, without the use of rational processes. A short labored intake of breath with the mouth open. Usually in the plural, a garment extending from the waist to the knee or ankle, covering each leg separately. Breathe noisily, as when one is exhausted. The runners reached the finish line, panting heavily. The noise made by a short puff of steam, as from an engine. Utter while panting, as if out of breath. Proceed for an extended period of time. The speech dragged on for 2 hours. To lag or linger behind. But in so many other areas we still are dragging. Suck in or take air. Force into some kind of situation, condition, or course of action. Don't drag me into this business. Draw slowly or heavily. Walk without lifting the feet. A slow inhalation, as of tobacco smoke. He took a drag on his cigarette and expelled the smoke slowly. Search, as the bottom of a body of water, for something valuable or lost. The phenomenon of resistance to motion through a fluid. Clothing that is conventionally worn by the opposite sex, especially women's clothing when worn by a man. He went to the party dressed in drag. Move slowly and as if with great effort. Persuade to come away from something attractive or interesting. He dragged me away from the television set. Pull, as against a resistance. He dragged the big suitcase behind him. Something tedious and boring. Peeling potatoes as a drag. Something that slows or delays progress. Taxation as a drag on the economy. The act of dragging, pulling with force. The drag up the hill exhausted him. Use a computer mouse to move icons on the screen and select commands from a menu. Drag this icon to the lower right-hand corner of the screen. A short labored intake of breath with the mouth open. She gave a gasp and fainted. Breathe noisily, as when one is exhausted. Suck in or take air. Blow hard and loudly. He huffed and puffed as he made his way up the mountain. A short light gust of air. To swell or cause to enlarge. Her face puffed up from the drugs. A slow inhalation, as of tobacco smoke. He took a puff on his pipe. A soft spherical object made from fluffy fibers, for applying powder to the skin. Bedding made of 2 layers of cloth filled with stuffing and stitched together. Smoke and exhale strongly. Puff a cigar. Gathered for protruding fullness. Puff sleeves. Forceful exhalation through the nose or mouth. He blew out all the candles with a single puff. Breathe noisily, as when one is exhausted. Praise extravagantly. The critics puffed up this Broadway production. Thick cushion used as a seat. A light inflated pastry or puff shell. Exaggerated praise, as for promotional purposes. Make proud or conceited. The sudden fame puffed her ego. Speak in a blustering or scornful manner. A puffing kind of man. Strip of feathers. Pull a chicken. A sharp strain on muscles or ligaments. He was sidelined with a hamstring pull. Perform an act, usually with a negative connotation. Pull a bank robbery. Remove, usually with some force or effort, also used in an abstract sense. Pull weeds. Special advantage or influence. The chairman's nephew has a lot of pull. Direct toward itself or oneself by means of some psychological power or physical attributes. The ad pulled in many potential customers. Bring, take, or pull out of a container or from under a cover. Pull out a gun. A slow inhalation, as of tobacco smoke. Take sides with. Align oneself with. Show strong sympathy for. I'm pulling for the underdog. Tear or be torn violently. Pull the cooked chicken into strips. Cause to move in a certain direction by exerting a force upon, either physically or in an abstract sense. A declining dollar pulled down the export figures for the last quarter. The act of pulling. Applying force to move something toward or with you. The pull up the hill had him breathing harder. Cause to move by pulling. Pull a sled. Strain abnormally. I pulled a muscle in my leg when I jumped up. A device used for pulling something. He grabbed the pull and opened the drawer. Apply force so as to cause motion towards the source of the motion. Pull the string gently. A sustained effort. It was a long pull but we made it. hit in the direction that the player is facing when carrying through the swing. Pull the ball. Move into a certain direction. The car pulls to the right. Operate when rowing a boat. Pull the oars. Rein in to keep from winning a race. Pull a horse. Steer into a certain direction. Pull one's horse to a stand. Take away. Pull the old soup cans from the supermarket shelf. The force used in pulling. The pull of the moon. A minute life form, especially a disease-causing bacterium. The term is not in technical use. Anything that provides inspiration for later work. A small apparently simple structure, as a fertilized egg, from which new tissue can develop into a complete organism. Make, offspring, by reproduction. A woman who has given birth to a child, also used as a term of address to your mother. The mother of 3 children. Care for like a mother. A condition that is the inspiration for an activity or situation. Necessity is the mother of invention. A stringy slimy substance consisting of yeast cells and bacteria. Forms during fermentation and is added to cider or wine to produce vinegar. A term of address for a mother superior. A term of address for an elderly woman. A publication, or a passage from a publication, that is referred to. He spent hours looking for the source of that quotation. Someone who originates or causes or initiates something. Anything, a person or animal or plant or substance, in which an infectious agent normally lives and multiplies. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Pittsburgh is the source of the Ohio River. Anything that provides inspiration for later work. A person who supplies information. A document, or organization, from which information is obtained. The reporter had 2 sources for the story. A facility where something is available. Get, a product, from another country or business. She sourced a supply of carpet. Specify the origin of. The writer carefully sourced her report. Technology. A process by which energy or a substance enters a system. A heat source. The thick white fluid containing spermatozoa that is ejaculated by the male genital tract. One of the outstanding players in a tournament. Anything that provides inspiration for later work. Place, seeds, in or on the ground for future growth. She sowed sunflower seeds. A mature fertilized plant ovule consisting of an embryo and its food source and having a protective coat or testa. A small hard fruit. Bear seeds. Distribute, players or teams, so that outstanding teams or players will not meet in the early rounds. Go to seed. Shed seeds. The dandelions went to seed. Help, an enterprise, in its early stages of development by providing seed money. Inoculate with microorganisms. Remove the seeds from. Seed grapes. Sprinkle with silver iodide particles to disperse and cause rain. Seed clouds. A strong creative impulse, divine inspiration. Divine afflatus. A mechanical system in a building that provides fresh air. She was continually adjusting the ventilation. The bodily process of inhalation and exhalation. The process of taking in oxygen from inhaled air and releasing carbon dioxide by exhalation. The act of supplying fresh air and getting rid of foul air. Free and open discussion of, or debate on, some question of public interest. The bodily process of inhalation and exhalation. The process of taking in oxygen from inhaled air and releasing carbon dioxide by exhalation. The bodily process of inhalation and exhalation. The process of taking in oxygen from inhaled air and releasing carbon dioxide by exhalation. The metabolic processes whereby certain organisms obtain energy from organic molecules. Processes that take place in the cells and tissues during which energy is released and carbon dioxide is produced and absorbed by the blood to be transported to the lungs. A single complete act of breathing in and out. 30 respirations per minute. The bodily process of inhalation and exhalation. The process of taking in oxygen from inhaled air and releasing carbon dioxide by exhalation. Passing or able to pass air in and out of the lungs normally, sometimes used in combination. The boy was disappointed to find only skeletons instead of living breathing dinosaurs.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.